storyteller of the night is
Gale.
Gale.
Thank you. I'm really 25 in the dark. So I was born in Brooklyn in 1948, and I was born in a place called Bay Ridge, and we were working class people. We rented the second floor of an apartment. But across the street, there were these beautiful Victorian homes. And this story is about a promise that was made in 1898, I believe, in one of those houses across the street. There was a woman who had 4 daughters. Their names were Ethel Daisy, Marigold, Iris, and Violet. This is a true story. And 2 of those girls died when they were very young. I don't know exactly what disease had passed through Brooklyn, but it took these 2 girls. And their mother made Ethel Daisy and Marigold promise that no matter what, they should never have children, because having children caused great grief, heartache for a lifetime. And that in addition, because these 2 sisters were so tied to one another, should they make the mistake of getting married, they must never leave this beautiful Victorian home where they were born. And so Ethel Daisy and Marigold got married. Marigold married Roloff, he was the Swedish sea captain, and he went around the world, and so he would bring back beautiful Delft tiles. They were all over the kitchen, and beautiful Delft dolls. And Ethel Daisy married Stubby. His real name was Fred, but Stubby. And Stubby would provide her with beautiful gifts. She had mink stoles, she had ermine stoles, she had gold lame bags. I was born in 1948. When I was a little girl, to walk across the street to that house was walking into a whole nother time, a whole nother place. And there were objects from around the world. There were zebra rugs, there were Ming vases, there was a Steinway piano. And I was a poor kid. My parents hadn't gone to school. I don't think they traveled beyond Brooklyn. And it was a place where, as I became a little bit older, I would have my friends come. We then moved further out on the island, but we would always come in to visit Stubby and Marigold and Ethel and Roloff. And Roloff died, and Ethel Daisy died, leaving a brother-in-law and a sister-in-law alone in this house. And they had promised they would never leave this house no matter what. Meantime, I'm bringing my little friends, and we're going down the basement. There's a bar. There are beautiful mermaids painted, and they have sequins for nipples. And there are shot glasses, and you hold them up, and they have nude women. And this is a whole nother world that I'm investigating when I'm here. My father died when I was 6. My mother was a very sad widow. And eventually, Uncle Stubby started to come out to our house to visit. And soon he was taking my mother out to dinner. And soon after Ethel Daisy died, he was giving my mother these fur stoles and these little gold lame bags. And soon I realized my mother had promised me when my father died, we will never leave this house where you grew up. We will never leave this house. And all of a sudden, my mother's dating this man, and they're talking about moving to Florida. And they're going to get married. And now, my mother was ill when I was a teenager, and she died when I was 19, just prior to getting married to Stubby. But before she died, she said to him, please make sure that Gale can go to college, that you will pay for her college. And he promised. And she promised that I would always grow up in that house. But she was dying, and she died, and she couldn't keep that promise. And Stubby came to the funeral. He was heartbroken. He never got to go to Florida. He moved back into the house where that 1898 promise had started these people to be in a kind of prison. And he and Marigold both died there, barely talking to one another. They were very wealthy. I don't know what happened to his money, but he never paid for a cent of my college. And Marigold left all of her money to her dog. I just want to tell you one more thing about promises, though. So I, pushing off like you do off the edge of a pool to swim in the opposite direction, I decided, okay, those promises were broken. Well, I'm going to get myself a great home and make it home. And I have, and I've lived in it for 40 years. And I'm going to go to college, and I'm going to pay for it myself. And I did. And then I went to graduate school.
Gale, everyone. Yeah.